Hey everybody, Q&A session. Somebody's high spec says, WTF, question mark, question mark. Talking about my AI technique. Just let them do it by themselves. You're missing the point. Not all dogs should be let to do it by themselves for various different reasons. One is because they can't get it done properly, which would be the French Bulldog category. The second thing is transmitted diseases. You can avoid that. So there's all kinds of reasons why people do AIs. So you're missing the point. Go learn some more and then you'll know what the right answer is. Sarah Pancha. Thank you for answering my question a few months back. I love that story about your daughter chasing up the cart with a puppy. Anyway, here's the question. I have two boys, one girl, with the same except told me I priced them too high. Oh, so look, so you priced these dogs at $3,500 in Salt Lake City, said that you'd seen them for less expensive. Well, look, you have the right to price your dog any way you see fit. If you price your dog too high, or if you do the wrong kind of advertising, then people aren't going to want to come and buy your dog. If you've got a dog that's a $20,000 dog and you're trying to sell that dog to people who are wanting $3,000 dogs, you're not going to get anywhere. So, you know, I would not necessarily drop your price because people are saying you're too high. I would drop my price because I've got puppies that I've had for a while and I need to find new homes for them, and I'm getting to the point where they're 10, 11, 12 weeks old, and then maybe you need to start dropping the price every week until they sell. Or you need to look at how you're selling your dogs and how you're wording things and how you're reacting towards your customers. But I can tell you that we don't sell dogs in that price category. Our dogs are a lot more expensive than that, and we sell them very successfully. But you know, we spend a lot of time with our customers explaining what they're going to get and why they should be maybe looking at one of our dogs in terms of how we treat people and how we look at people after the sale and all these kind of things. So there's not just a straight price on a dog. There's not a fixed price for a French Bulldog. I mean, some of these dogs are sold for $500,000. Now, obviously, they're far and few between, and they're very special dogs with all kind of fantastic DNA. And I'm not trying to give you the idea that you should be selling your dogs for $500,000. But the point here is some of those dogs have sold for that much, and some dogs are sold for $500. Huge disparity, and consequently, there is a lot of difference in terms of the market. Calypso E-Dog's talking about the AI, and he's talking about if I can get the entire rod in there, I'll be happy. I'm not sure whether one's being funny with this comment or not, but I will comment on it anyway. So when you AI a dog with a French Bulldog, we use an 8-inch AI rod. It's very skinny, and I would like to see almost all of that, if not the entire rod, into that girl if I've got my timing right. Does take some technique, does take some time. You've got to wiggle things around, push slowly, wiggle your finger around. And if you do it right, and the dog's in the right place most of the time, all of a sudden that rod will go in an extra 1 to 2 inches. And bingo, you know you're in the right place. Hi James, can 2 fluffy carriers make a visual fluffy? You bet they can. 1/4 of the litter you'd expect to be visual fluffies, 1/2 the litter to be fluffy carriers, and 1/4 the litter to have no fluffy at all. I can't read this one. I don't know what they're talking about. Oh, someone is saying this is extremely disturbing, especially with the music. You're AIing a dog. Hey, you're looking at the wrong. I don't know what to tell you. There's lots of people who find that very useful information. If you don't like something that I'm doing, stop watching it. You always have the right to flip it and go to something else. That's what my recommendation is. If you don't like it, shut it off. And I understand, my channel is not designed to have, 9, 10, 14-year-olds looking at it. It's not what my channel's about. My channel is about the nuts and bolts of breeding dogs and problems with dogs. And it's supposed to be very factual and to the point. And it's not prettied up. It's just the way that it is. So, again, if we offended you, I'm sorry. It was not our intent. Cuttlebug Frenches wants to know, when do puppies start walking? When can I turn the heat off in the whelping system? 4 weeks, question mark. Yes. So we keep the heat on for 4 weeks. It's probably longer than you need, but it can't hurt anything, right? If they get to the point where the puppies are no longer congregating around the outside, they're not needing the heat anymore, and you can turn it off. When do they start walking? After their eyes are open. Eyes open typically around 10 days. Start moving around properly, a couple of weeks after they've been born, 2 weeks old, maybe a bit later, puppies should be starting to walk around. And watch out for those ones that aren't walking around, the big fat ones whose legs are out behind them and they're swimming around like a walrus. They need their legs taped up or they'll get flat chests and you'll run into problems. TM16, what if one of my dogs has little d, little co, little e? That would make him champagne. Correct. A dog that is both cream and chocolate is a champagne. Has one copy of E, if it had, of D, blue. If it had 2 copies of D, then it would be a platinum. Cuddlebug Frenches, love the heated whelping system, works just like it says. Only downside notice is it gives puppies 0 traction. Mum bunches up the towel into a nest and they're on the plastic pad, not really the way to put anything down for. Well, look, there is a fix for this. So what we do is we use the puppy pee pads that have sticky corners in them. They stick down, that gives them traction. So that's the first thing. Is you don't want to put anything really thick in there that covers up the area where the heat tape is because the heat won't come up through the floor very well. But you do want to give puppies traction. And so the answer to this is you can do double stick tape, you can stick something down to hold it in place so mum can't bunch it up. And that's not a fault of the heat tape. That is any situation where you have a hard floor and mum rucks up the blankets, you're going to have this situation. You've got to tape it down, hold it down so that she doesn't ruck up the... Yeah. Melissa Gatling, thanks for the great information. Can you guys ship products to Australia? Yes, we can. It depends on what you're wanting. So you particularly ask about the progesterone machine. No, I'm not authorized to sell progesterone machines outside the USA, so I cannot sell that to you. But everything else except large incubators, potentially yes, we can ship to Australia. You asked about the oxygen machine. That's a no, because the oxygen machine runs on 120 volts and you're 240 volts in Australia. That's one other product. So you've just hit on 2 of the 3 things we can't sell to you in Australia. Can't sell the progesterone machine, can't sell the oxygen machine, can't sell the large incubator. Everything else we can sell you. Easton Meyer, what is the earliest you've ever noticed pregnancy on one of your females? Tammy, Tammy just walked in here. What's the earliest that you've seen a dog that you know is pregnant, do you think? After AI?
The earliest?
Yes.
Oh, probably at least 3 weeks.
Hey, she got the same number as me. How about that? Clever girl.
First
3.
is the nipples.
Yeah.
Show. If they're brand new mamas, you definitely know with their nipples. Yeah.
Right, so what Tammy's saying, she's off camera here. She's in her pajamas, so she's all right. Can you come on camera, Tammy, sit here for a second?
No, I don't. They don't want to see me.
You look cute in your jammies.
Everybody would run away.
No, they would not. They would not either. All right, so what are the signs that a dog is pregnant? A new dog has never had puppies before. They have flat nipples that are almost flat to their bellies. As they get pregnant, the nipples start popping out. And that's the first sign that you've been successful. So that is a good sign. And you can see that as soon as 3 weeks after, even maybe a little earlier. Other signs that you've been successful are behavior. Sleeping a lot, more clingy, vomiting, not eating food. Those are also good signs that the dog maybe is going through morning sickness. They can also be signs of things like pyometria. So a dog that's drinking a lot and is listless, that could have pyometria. And the one way that you can do, if you're worried about that, is take the dog's temperature. If it's less than 102, you've probably got a pregnant dog on your hands, not pyometria. So if a dog has had puppies before, those nipples don't shrink back down, so the nipple thing is not a particularly good sign. But certainly you can see signs at 3 weeks. Let's have a look here. And in your situation, you're 2 weeks and 5 days ago. So, especially with big litters, you could actually, typically you don't see the belly getting bigger until they're more like 5 weeks. But if they've got a lot of puppies on board, you might see a belly being produced as early as 4 weeks. Jetty Rickett, got my first platinum girl yesterday. Dad is a platinum merle. She has light blue eyes. Is there any way I can tell if she's a merle without doing DNA? No. Because first off, if she's a platinum, she's got to have blue. She's going to have red eyes in a dark room. And so you didn't report that, so you haven't probably done a test right, which is not a platinum. And then the other problem is that dogs that are Merle tend to have red eye glow anyway. So you've got to do a DNA test.
Everybody needs to do DNA tests as far as I'm concerned. Correct?
Say it again.
Everybody needs to do a DNA test, especially your puppies.
Yeah, if you don't know sometimes you know what's going on because of the parents, but if you don't know, DNA test. Go to Animal Genetics,
Well,
DNA test.
when you have puppies, people want to know what the DNA is.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
if you have Brindle in there and somebody that doesn't want Brindle,
Yeah.
they're
So,
going to be upset with you.
right, so we're back to this harping on do a DNA test. All right, that's for this one. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.